Welcome to Nerds Amalgamated, a podcast that covers the latest events in science, pop culture, and gaming.
I'm the professor, aspiring game developer, sci-fi aficionado, and completely and undeniably a geek trying to take over the world. I'll be breaking down the news from tech to gaming.
I am the DJ, a humble nerd, a big weeb,
and a watcher from the halls of the multiverse.
Just kidding. Anyways, I'll be breaking down all things comics to movies to anime.
Join us and stay hydrated as we quench you with witty banter, unintentionally hilarious hot takes, and trivia more fun than a night at the pub, courtesy of Nerds Amalgamated.
Welcome back to another episode of Nerds Amalgamated. This episode is sponsored by Res, the focus and energy formula for the long game. Crafted from traditional herbs and quality extracts, it relieves fatigue and eye strain, supports eye health, supports mental endurance and stamina to give you hit points in real life. And it comes with a great flavor of crisp apple berry.
Which is a really nice purple colour.
Yeah.
Feels like you're drinking a potion.
Yeah. I'm going to try something really crazy. I'm going to mix my satchel of Res with a bottle of Coke. See how that turns out.
You try that.
Yeah, I am going to try that.
Just don't come crying to me when it's horrible.
I'm putting it in that. I'm putting it in now.
Yeah, this stuff's delicious.
Yeah.
I can't imagine Coke would make it any better, though.
Who knows?
The caffeine. This thing already has a ton of caffeine in it to keep you awake.
Yep. Oh my gosh.
Coke has caffeine as well. What are you trying to do to your heart?
Well, my Coke is now turned... It's cool. It looks maroonish, like origin colors, Okay, you're going to give it a taste now. Refreshing. Very nice. Has that nice, has the ting of the apple crisp and the sweetness of the Coke. Although I will say this to anyone, do not try this at home.
All right, well, what are we talking about this week?
So, this week we are talking about... There is something about gacha games, China's cinematic solution to the US tariffs, and there might be life in space after all. And yes, all these titles are clickbaity. So, Professor, what have you got us today with the gacha games?
A study that finds that 19% of Japanese people in their 20s have spent so much on gacha games, they struggled with covering living expenses.
Only 19? That's
only 19%.
That's not much from a big picture perspective.
No, that is still a lot. That's 1 in 5.
Okay.
And it's not just in Japan, it's also happening in Australia too.
Oh, shit.
People are spending so much on gacha games, they can't afford to live.
So, besides the 19% in their 20s spending money on the gacha games, what other key points did the report highlight?
Well, 24% of respondents admitted to regretting spending money on in-game transactions.
Of course.
18% were willing to pay to have an advantage in game. Cheaters. But compared to a study from last year, that's up for male respondents only, not for female respondents, by 7.6%.
Wow.
Yeah, I've worded that wrong. It's up by 7.6% more. I'm not sure this is worded rightly in this article, but anyway. In 2024, 16.2% of men agreed that they were willing to pay to have an advantage in game. 23.8% said that in 2025.
Oh, well, okay, that's a bit of a drop.
No, that's more. Are you even paying attention?
Yeah, yes, I am paying attention. Well, okay, yeah, I see it now. I was kind of lost. Wow, okay, wow, 7.6%. Wow, holy shit.
Yeah, overall, 18% of players will pay to have an advantage, which is so wrong from my game design perspective.
Okay, did they specify what types of games that they were testing the participants?
Gacha games.
I don't know, what type of what's the titles, like Genshin Impact or...
No, they haven't mentioned titles.
Okay.
The study also found that 20.8% of respondents couldn't enjoy the game if they didn't make in-game purchases.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, like most of the gacha games, if you play it if you play it if you
They're
play it
designed
without
this way.
if you don't play it without paying anything, the grind it becomes unbearably annoying.
Yeah, that's the point.
Yeah. And they reduce the whole like spending money on it as a get out of this grind free card.
Yeah. So anyway, my opinion is that if you can't make the grind fun, it shouldn't be in the game anyway.
Okay, I'm curious to ask, would you put gacha games as freemium games? As freemium or something else entirely?
It depends on the game. Some of them are definitely pay to win. Some are freemium. Some are completely free to play. But what's also interesting is that the amount people are spending on gacha games is dropping. So more
Oh,
people are spending, but fewer, they're spending less money on it,
okay. Wait,
which is
how about
probably related to the economy somehow.
yeah, that plus I think it's also the fact that I think governments are also cracking down on on the amount of money people spend on games.
I've never heard of anything about that happening in Japan.
Okay, yeah. I mean, okay, maybe not in Japan, but like I said, remember we were talking about the Roblox in Turkey and
Yeah,
and how people spend an inordinate amount of money
but
on
this
it.
study's from Japan.
I like I
So
said,
Roblox in Turkey is irrelevant.
yeah, but it
The
does.
Turkish government cracking down on Roblox doesn't affect gamers in Japan.
I understand that, Professor. What I was trying to say is it's I'm saying is that Turkey might be the starting point in terms of you're gonna start seeing governments cracking down. Maybe Japan will start maybe Japan might follow suit in terms of cracking down on how much people spend money on games.
I doubt it. I've heard that the Japanese culture is very into gambling.
Oh yeah, with the pachinko balls and all. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think Japan's going to be leading the charge to restrict gacha games anytime soon.
And also the other question would be now it's not just Japan that is famous for the gacha games. I mean, you've got Chinese games that are also gacha games as well, like Genshin Impact, which is a famous site, which is based in China, if I recall.
Yeah, there's gacha games all around the world.
Yeah,
They're mostly made by Asian developers at the moment.
yeah.
There are gacha mechanics in Western games as well now.
Oh shit! It has finally begun. The West has now embraced the Western gacha games market. Oh, here we
Yeah,
oh here, I'm just looking at some of the West. I just typed Western gacha games on Google and I'm at r/gacha gaming and someone told me an article saying Western made gachas the now and future. He goes on to say I didn't know how to title this post better, but here's what I mean. I haven't heard much of Western made gacha games. There was some Pokemon one. I think someone tried with the Marvel franchise, but besides that, nothing much of anything. And he goes on to say, "Our gacha is not a popular genre to make in the West because of the waifu culture being much more niche. Is because gachas that rely on just Western revenue from the get-go would go bankrupt before managing to get a release in the East. Do Western devs see it as something below them to make a waifu PNG collector instead of a photorealistic WoW killer?" So what do you reckon?
it's
What would you?
doing a lot of projecting there.
I mean,
No,
damn.
it's not necessarily beneath people to make shitty gacha games
Especially in
with
the
waifu
West.
collectors.
In the West, you
But
mean?
it's not like the West is obsessed with WoW, photorealistic WoW killers.
Hmm.
That's not the only type of game the West makes, just like gachas aren't the only type of game that China or Japan make. And the WoW killer isn't even that big in the West anyway. If it was, one of them would have actually killed WoW by now.
Okay. In reality, though, with the Western gacha games, yes, there are a lot of Western gacha games like from, for example, Hearthstone, FIFA, AFK genre, PUBG.
Does PUBG have gambling in it now?
They say someone said it's closely to gacha.
Bloody hell, I haven't played that in years, but yeah, I don't understand. It shouldn't have. Anyway, we should probably define
Yeah,
Gacha is basically a game that has a loot box in it.
Yeah.
that you have to pay real world money to get. So technically, you could count Overwatch as a gacha game.
Dude, even MOBAs in actuality just gachas. Although, no, no, I don't know because it's like you're paying money for the skin of a character. So would you class that as a gacha mechanic?
No, because you're buying the skin, you know what you're getting.
Okay, yeah, yeah, I guess.
Gacha relies on loot boxes.
Yeah. Yeah, there's but yeah, you got games like FIFA and NBA 2K that have
Yeah.
gacha elements as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so apparently the equivalent of waifu PNG collector is footballer PNG collector.
Oh yeah,
Look,
yeah.
I got Ronaldo!
I got Messi. Number 5 stars. Messi, 5 stars.
Yeah, I've never understood. There's a thing YouTubers do sometimes where they play a gacha game and they buy or presumably they're given them by the publisher because it's usually a very advertising heavy thing.
Yeah.
They give them a 50 loot box equivalents and they open it on stream or whatever. I remember Rooster Teeth did one for Fallout Shelter, which is another Western gacha game.
Yeah.
I've never understood the appeal of watching someone open loot boxes for an hour.
Well, it's the same with like when you're opening card packs on stream.
Again, I don't see the appeal in that because I remember back in the early 2020s, I
Hmm.
can say that because it's 2025 now. The big thing was having celebrities in air quotes open your Pokemon cards for you. It's like, why would you deny yourself the joy of opening them for yourselves and finding out what you got to watch someone else touch your possibly shiny mint condition cards with their grubby fingers?
I have the. I think it's just the. I think it's like yeah, it's just the hype. It's just the hype at the end. And now that you mentioned it with the whole time thing, what's interesting is the fact that back during 2020, gachas were big. This mind you, this was during COVID times as well.
Yeah.
So gachas were a big thing. And now what you're saying now with gachas and how people are less spending it feels like the relevancy of the gachas is kind of waning.
Well,
Am I
this study, at least for Japan, would say the opposite. It says that there's more people paying for gacha games.
But not much in terms of like the value. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it says that the value has dropped a bit, but it's still not that much. So last year, the estimate was that they spent an average of 35.85 USD, and this year they're spending 29.63 USD per month.
Shit.
That's like $30 is still a decent amount of money, especially like 30 USD. If I convert that to, I just convert the yen, which is 4,247 yen. Right now, that's 47 Australian dollars, rounding up a
Shit.
little bit. Like, that's a decent amount to spend on a gacha game. You could get a full, you couldn't get a AAA game anymore, but you could get a AA game.
Yeah.
So some
But
people just choose to spend their gaming budget on gacha games instead of buying new games. And yeah, I just don't see the appeal of gacha, but apparently people do. Apparently it must because it makes a ton of money. But I think I disagree with gacha because they use people's addictive personalities to exploit them.
it's not just that. Like if you look at the most popular gacha game, like Genshin Impact, for example, like it's just waifu simulator. Like, yes, I have the best skin for my waifu. Oh shit, this is the this is just for the waifus, everybody.
Okay, and what about other games with gacha elements? Like
Um
Fallout Shelter. That doesn't have waifu skins. I
uh,
played a bit of that when it came out.
okay, what was the allure for it though?
It's
Like for
a
Genshin,
Fallout game.
I
That's the
understand it was
allure.
I know it's the Fallout game. Like for Genshin, it was just the waifus and the waifus and the skins. What was the like Fallout? What was it for that one? The skins and the
You'd get named settlers who were named after characters from from the games,
okay.
and they'd have higher stats than
Then yours,
the
basically.
vanilla random settlers that you get.
Yeah. Yes. like that. It could be it could be a myriad of things. It could be quick battle finishes, for example, to extra superheroes. Like if you look at Marvel Gacha games, like oh yes, I have this classic Deadpool skin, a new Deadpool skin that I have, or a new Incredible Hulk skin.
Yeah. The problem is they're taking advantage of your addictive personality
Yeah.
because it is functionally gambling. You put in money not knowing what you're going to get back.
And it's also the fact that people like to collect. No, we all love to collect something.
Yeah. But it's. I think the name Gacha comes from Gachapon?
Yeah, it Gashapon. Yeah,
Yeah. Which is a loot box that pops out a little. It's a toy dispenser. You put in a coin and it pops out a capsule with a toy in it. But you don't
yeah,
know what you're going to get because it's a loot box.
yeah.
It's basically gambling. Just because you can't directly transfer the what you get into real world money doesn't make it not gambling.
And the
And
other,
there's a thing we talk about in game development. We talk about whales. You got any idea what a whale is?
aside from the largest mammal on the planet, no.
It's the big fish you want to catch for your game because if you have a whale, they will spend so much money on your game. Like, I'm giving away the secret behind the trick here, but there are companies I've heard of that will have artists making skins specifically tailored to different whales.
Oh
So they
shit!
pick out a player who is likely to spend a lot of money on the game and make a skin tailored for them so that they will buy the skin or
So
will keep pulling the gacha until they pop out the loot box that has the skin in it.
oh yeah, yeah. I was gonna say like with the other interesting thing with these Asian gacha games is the fact that it's not just the waifu skins you would get. It's also the other loot that comes in, which are higher tiers than, like, let's say if you want to go through the normal grind. Like let's say your normal grind, you get like 1-star sword or a 2-star book, a tome of magic, and others like all like shit stars, right? And then you buy a gacha, it's like, oh, I have a 5-star sword and a 7-star tome of magic, and all higher stats, basically.
Yeah, so it's pay to win,
Yeah,
which is
and
another thing I hate
yeah,
because it ruins the competitive nature of the game to have players having better stats because they paid for
yeah.
it. It basically makes gaming more like real life. And games are for being not like real life, damn it. Games are for escapism.
Okay,
If I wanted to be have it rubbed in my face that people are richer than me, I'd go to the rich side of town.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I do have a question for you in relation to the whales comment. In relation to the whales comment though. So, if I, let's say for example, I'm in the gacha game and I'm facing this new boss. He's the king of the underworld, and he has, let's say, 10 out of 10 stats. Like he's got all these stats, and I've spent like $200, and my highest can go is 8 stars. So does that mean does that mean the company will tell me, yes, here is this 10-star armor or armor set
Are
that you
you
can get?
asking if you're a whale
Yeah.
for having spent $200?
Yeah.
Think bigger.
Wow, okay.
The biggest whales will spend thousands of dollars. And that's
Wow.
not just once off, that's like thousands of dollars a month.
A month? What? A month? Yeah, I can't do that, man. That's not within my budget, but a month?
Yeah, that's the thing. There are studies that show that the number of people who will pay for a free to play game at all, spend
Hmm.
any money on it, is a few percent of the population. So you want to get the whales because it's the only way.
Do they know in actuality what they're doing is harmful to themselves?
I mean, they're functionally gambling addicts. If they can't, you can be a gambling addict and be, if you're extremely well off and not have it hugely affect you. But that's not most people. And the point of whaling is that you get someone you're functionally exploiting a gambling addict.
Damn.
Which is why I actually agree with Belgium, which has banned loot boxes.
Yeah.
China is heading that way too. There are requirements if you release your game in China that you have to reveal the odds on your loot boxes. So you basically say what people will get in the loot box and what the odds of pulling a particular item are, which is the reason Pokemon Go will tell you what Pokemon are in the eggs, because you can spend money on incubators to hatch the eggs.
I mean,
You do get a free incubator that doesn't expire, but you
Hmm.
can buy incubators with real world money to hatch more eggs.
I, I mean, I get it. Like, it's I get the whole like loot boxes are bad and stuff, but I think I might have said in a couple of episodes, like the libertarian in me doesn't like the whole fact that you're getting government involved in game creation. That's the scary side about that.
On the other hand, do you want every game to be a shitty gacha game? Because that's what makes
Yeah.
the most money?
Yeah, and that's like I said, that's the I that's the part I get it. Like it's you want to make money, but then do you want the government to come in and look into your work? Essentially, I'm kind. It's a. I
And
mean,
morally,
hmm,
how do you feel morally about exploiting a gambling addict?
yeah, yeah. Morally, I wouldn't. I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't. I would
Yeah.
not do it.
That's why I try to not I've never designed a game in any of my game designs that I've done that involves gacha mechanics.
Hmm.
And when I've applied for jobs in the games industry, I've tried to avoid companies that I know are doing gacha mechanics. And maybe that's why I can't find a job in the games industry, but I can be an indie dev and not give up my
Re
principles.
Okay, do you reckon though? I mean, I mean, it's clear though that the gacha games are already the future, or not really the present of the gaming industry. Could you see it? Given this report, could you see it having a future in a sense?
Yeah,
Like the
unless the government regulates gacha games, I see them taking over mobile gaming because they are the one of the best money makers there is.
I don't know about best money makers. I mean, remember Concord, how they were trying to make themselves the best money maker, and look what happened to them.
Yeah, that happens.
I mean, the live service model is kind of it is trying to be the whole money maker at the moment, but I don't know.
Well,
Actually,
it's hard to tell what's going to be a hit. The tricky part is making a game and having it sell well. Concord shot itself in the foot by trying to double dip by having microtransactions and being a paid game.
yeah,
And it was also trying to break into a saturated market. That's the thing. With multiplayer games like Concord, there's a fairly saturated market. You've got to do something really different to get attention. You're looking at you're looking at making a game that's different, which you could copy the existing games. Like if you wanted to make a Counter-Strike rival, you come up with Valorant, which is Counter-Strike with magic powers.
yeah,
Or you come up with Spectre Divide, which is Counter-Strike, but you play as two characters. If you just copy Counter-Strike, everyone's going to stay with Counter-Strike because it's already got the network effect and it's free to play. That same thing happened with Concord. There are other games that do what Concord did just as well, if not better, that are free to play. So nobody was going to spend money on Concord. So it never reached a critical mass. It never got to take advantage of the network effect, and it died very quickly.
there's also a similar game to that's doing the same type of shit that Concord did, Marathon as well.
How so? I haven't been following Marathon.
So apparently, so for the uninitiated, Marathon is a new it's a new game by Bungie, and it's a reboot of the original Marathon. And it is a extraction shooter with the focus on PvP gameplay and loot extraction mechanics. And from what I've been told, it is the
That's
game
a
will not
very saturated market again.
and it's been confirmed that the game will not be adopting a free-to-play model, instead opting for a premium paid model.
Okay, well, depending on how they do that,
Hmm.
like if it's a one off payment or if there's microtransactions, I think it's a saturated market. A lot of people who want to play extraction shooters are already playing Tarkov.
Yeah.
But Tarkov is the biggest name. It's not the only one, but it is basically the biggest name in extraction shooters. But Tarkov also has pay to win. You can buy a supporter pack that gives you a bigger backpack.
Yeah. This might okay. I got a question for you. Now we're speaking relations with live service and gachas. You reckon live service is the Western version of the gachas?
No, live service is Gachas are live service. It's not, they're not exclusive.
Okay.
Live service basically just means a multiplayer game that has microtransactions and frequent updates.
Ah, yeah, yep. But yeah, you were say, but yeah, you're right in terms of the market. The live service market is heavily saturated with games like similar games to Concord and Marathon. So, but that being said, could you see the gacha game taking over the live service model anytime soon, or you reckon though you could see a combination of both melding into one new model?
Well, again, they're not mutually exclusive. It's like saying, can you see? It's like saying, can you see John Wick movies overtaking action? They're not mutually exclusive. You can have a John Wick movie that, like, you can have an action movie that's not John Wick, or you can have a John Wick movie that's not action.
Yeah. Although that'd be really weird having a John Wick movie that's not action.
It would. But I'm trying to put it into words you might understand.
No, yeah, that's fair.
Come on, did that insult just go right over your head?
Yes, it did. Well, sort of, but I understand. Did the report say anything positive besides the overall negative aspect of this of the LLTC gacha games?
No. I
Nothing.
mean, it's making it doesn't say how much money they're making, but I do know from other sources that gacha games are making a lot of money.
Uh
And that's the only positive, that somebody's making a lot of money out of it.
huh. Yeah. Was it like it's like that term? One man's trash is another man's treasure.
Uh, Not really.
I would say one man's trashy taste is another man's treasure in terms of money.
Okay, if you say so. I'm trying to think of a better saying for you there, but I can't.
Drink some res. Drink some res.
I'm drinking
Res.
it!
Ah, uh, yeah, but then I reckon most of the most of the Asian developers, especially in China, are going to be breaking in the money.
Tariffs on my waifu simulator, oh no!
Well, you see the China's response to it though. China's response to the tariffs.
I have. They
Ah, so
include more tariffs.
well, it's not only the more tariffs, but it's also the fact that that it would adhere to market principles, honor audience preferences, and moderately limit the influx of American movies. That's it. That's right, folks. China is not going to Hollywood movies and limit them.
Which they've been doing for years, so how is this different?
So, Hollywood movies will now account for only 5% of China's box office, down from previous years where American movies were more popular. Chinese audiences have favored domestic productions, which now represent roughly 80% of the annual box office. So,
Yeah, what was
they're-
that movie that just hit, like, most revenue ever? That Chinese movie?
I saw it. I know which one you're talking about.
The sequel to a movie I've never heard of?
None of us have heard of. Oh, Niza 2.
Yeah, that's it.
It's an anime. It's a 2025 Chinese animated, and it is a direct sequel to a 2019 movie, and it's based on the Chinese character Niza and Zhu Songling 16th century novel Investiture of the Gods. Yeah, with a current gross of more than 2.1 billion against a production budget of 80 million US dollars, it broke numerous records inside and outside China. Dang. Hollywood studios have already faced restrictive terms in China, receiving only 5% of box office earnings compared to about 50% in other markets. Their revenue is further reduced by a 50% tax before the profits are repatriated. Analysts note that China's move is a high-profile but low-cost way to retaliate against America, sending a strong message to Washington without significantly harming its own film industry.
Yeah, and that's not like it's not like the existing rules were driving away Hollywood
Mm,
because so many movies have that one Chinese actor or that one scene set in China because they wanted to be able to release in China. So, but that's all part of cultural exports, which are a form of soft power.
yeah,
So China is basically killing off American soft power in China.
yeah. And not to mention the fact that cutting off Hollywood being cut off by China with the international revenue, it's gonna hurt a lot of movies in terms of earnings. Like, can you imagine your MCU movies like not being aired in China? That will hurt a lot of MCU movie future.
Can I move to China?
Okay, I will say this though. I think it's a good thing that China is doing this because can you imagine people in China watching a Minecraft movie?
Are you implying they might do something worse than what people are doing over here?
Oh yeah, maybe in terms of doing some trend setting shit. Yes, like can you imagine them throwing like more chickens than one chicken in a theater?
Yeah, I don't see your point.
So the other measures is China is going to use quota systems that limits the number of foreign films allowed each year, prioritizing domestic productions. See, that's going to be interesting. How are you going to That's also going to determine the success of a film. Like, can you imagine if you try and release a indie American film over and that's like the quota. That's the one thing that finishes the quota
I don't
instead of
think most indie films get released in China.
but like, okay, maybe not an indie film, but like some semi-popular film.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's going to harm the double A films.
yeah, yeah. This immediate effect on upcoming Hollywood releases is unclear, with speculation that major blockbusters may secure Chinese releases, but uncertainty remains for severely highly anticipated titles. And Trump's response to this: "I think I've heard of worse things."
Well, it's not just the movies, it's also the board games.
Oh
A
shit!
lot of board games are printed in China, and my friend who follows board games was telling me the other day
Yeah.
there are a ton of board game manufacturers who are expecting to go bankrupt
Oh shit!
because they just can't afford to sell in the US anymore if they print in China and they can't print in the US.
And I've just also looked into what effects that has happened to Hollywood studios in relation to the announcement. Apparently, the stock market was affected as well, with short-term declines in the stock prices in major studios like Disney and Warner Brothers Discovery, reflecting the market uncertainty and concerns about the future revenue streams. I mean, damn. Although, mind you, is this also going to affect streaming related movies? Like, you know those Netflix movies?
Yeah, it'll affect streaming as well.
Yeah, so yeah, China,
Can you even get Netflix in China to begin with?
I can. Oh no, actually no, because as I said here, because of these government-imposed Netflix does not operate in China. However, users can access Netflix in China by using a VPN, essentially.
Okay, so it'll probably be unaffected because they're not by the Chinese tariffs anyway,
Hmm.
because they're not producing in China.
Yeah.
They probably will be affected by the tariffs on other countries though, because I know Netflix has been doing a lot of international content.
Yeah, but what's going to be interesting is will these tariffs also affect in terms of casting decisions in movies? Like you said earlier on, the that one Chinese actor in the Hollywood of the Chinese market, and some of them
Probably
and
stop doing that.
you foretelling stuff.
Yeah, I'm for telling. They'll stop having the one Chinese actor or the one scene set in China
Yeah,
because they don't need to, and it's a waste of money to include that scene if they're not releasing the movie in China.
yeah. They're like
Unless it drives the plot. Like,
yep.
there's no reason to have it set in China except to fit the Chinese produced content mandate.
What's interesting because so the implications that it will happen it will just be American actors and directors will experience a significant reduction in job opportunity in China. There'll be an unofficial ban on hiring American talent for Chinese production, with casting directors and agents explicitly told not to use Americans. Several actors have abruptly dropped from roles and projects in US talent, have been cancelled or rewritten to exclude American participation. Damn!
Fight, 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 fight.
Gish, gish, gish. If you know that reference.
No, I don't.
Rooster
And I'm
Teeth.
just creeped out now.
Oh come on! It's a Joel reference from Rooster Teeth. You know when Bernie and Gus are fighting, and Joel would just say, "Fight, fight, fight."
Okay.
Also, Chinese producers are increasingly cautious avoiding American talent, not only due to official restrictions, but also fear of offending regulators during a sensitive period. This has a chilling effect on cross-border collaboration. And the other fear is the loss of cultural influence and creative exchange, as this will erode the cultural bridge that the film and storytelling have provided between US and China, with American authors and directors losing a vital platform to influence and connect with Chinese audiences.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm most worried about. Having
Yeah,
cultural crossovers is a good way to lessen the chance of war, because who wants to go to war against someone who they know well
yeah.
or feel like they know well? So I'd be worried that down the line, if the US and China stop talking, they'd be more likely to go to war with each other.
Yeah, yeah, I see. I get you. I see. Yeah, and they also said here the diminished presence of American talent could further accelerate the decline of Hollywood's cultural impact in China, as local audiences increasingly favor domestic production. And this whole tariffs ban could also ruin a lot of careers and opportunities in China's entertainment industry for American actors and directors.
Okay.
Yeah, my biggest concern is, will this affect the quality? Will these tariffs and stuff? Like I said, with the casting decisions and the writing off act characters and stuff, will it affect the quality of the projects? And I think it will affect the quality of the project.
How?
Like say for example, if a side character has let's say you're doing a Chinese movie for example, and your American side character has an important role to play, and because of the tariffs, oh well, we're gonna write off this character out.
Oh, it'll influence it, but I don't think it'll affect the quality that much.
Yeah, but yeah, I think I see from, but this will also this might could you see this also affect future China relations?
Yes, that's what I just said.
Yeah. Yeah, it's because someone said here that this will reflect the broader pattern of tit for tat measures that these two countries and both sides will appear more entrenched, with China adopting a more confrontational stance and the US maintaining high tariff restrictions. Well, although the other thing that'll be interesting, the China tariffs as well, is at least they'll be spared from all the Disney movies that we're seeing now.
Yep.
I mean, no self-respecting Chinese person will watch the Snow White movie. That's for.
I don't know. I might be a sleeper hit over there. They have different
Really?
standards.
I don't know, man. I don't know. A CGI dwarf. No, no, no. Well, at least China will spend more money on other stuff like space travel. That's a bad segue.
Yeah. You want to hear about the aliens? Step into
If I
my spaceship.
okay, that you made it creepy now. Ugh. Now you made it creepy.
I mean, it's also basically the first episode of every Doctor Who season.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, the Doctor's like, want to see the aliens? Get in my spaceship.
Yeah, I think
And they're all like, ooh, your spaceship's so tiny. And they're like, we'll never fit in there.
Oh Jesus.
But it's probably not the sort of aliens you're hoping.
Oh.
A team of scientists studying the planet K2-18b using the James Webb Space Telescope have detected molecules that indicate that there may be life. The planet K2-18b is 2.5 times the size of Earth and is 124 light years away from us.
So
And they're using the James Webb Telescope to do a spectroscopy of the atmosphere, where by shining the light of the sun through that it orbits through the atmosphere, they can measure how much light is absorbed and what frequencies are re-emitted and tell what is in the atmosphere. So they've identified dimethyl sulfide and dimethyl disulfide. which are produced by marine phytoplankton and bacteria. They notice that there's thousands of times more of that gas there than we have on Earth. So if there is life there, there's tons of it. And Professor Madhusudan
Do you want me to
says,
pronounce it? Do you want me to pronounce it for you?
go on, you have a go.
Professor Niku Madhusudan.
Yeah, he says that if there's life on K218b, life is very common in the galaxy.
So for people who want to know how many kilometers would that be in 104 light years, is 1.173 quadrillion kilometers. Damn, that's a long way away.
And that's the reason why we measure space in light years.
But that's a very interesting discovery they found there.
Yeah, but they do note that the study they've done isn't conclusive, because for that they use what they call a 5 sigma result, which is 99.99999% sure. Currently they're at 99.7% sure.
Okay.
But the previous study of this planet indicated that there was a 68% chance of life. So if they do another study and it jumps up again, that would be even more certain.
So, since with this result though, how long you reckon before Elon decides to go, you know what? I'm gonna launch a rocket into that planet.
Can he be on it?
I doubt
I
it.
mean, if we're gonna meet alien life, surely that first encounter with a human should be the absolute best among us.
Yeah. I guess, but then the big question would be,
I'm not
do you
trying to get
really?
rid of him, no.
Yeah, it makes it sound like you want to get rid of him, but at the same time, that's what I'm thinking. Like, you really want a meme lord to introduce into a bunch of aliens?
Okay, well, he'd never make it.
Yep.
I mean,
It's like,
even assuming he could build a light speed vessel, which is physically impossible with our current tech, it would take 124 years, and he's not going to live that much longer, probably. So we'd need to send either a generation ship or break the speed of light. But this would be perfect for what we spoke about a few weeks ago with the solar sails. We could send solar sails to drive by this planet and pick up data and prove that there's life there. It would take a long time, but you set it and forget it. And in another couple of 100 years, our great grandkids will be like, oh my god, there's life on this planet. Now, the disappointing part is there's a 0.3% chance it's a statistical error, or the planet could be generating the gases geologically. Because on Earth, we know that it comes from microorganisms, but we don't know the exact conditions of this planet that could be causing it to generate this gas independently. Like a few years ago, there was a lot of excitement about Venus having signs of life, and then they decided it was going to more likely to be a geological
phenomena.
Yeah. The scientists reckon that it should be possible to make sure to the point where it's less than 1 in a million chance of it being a fluke in the next couple of years.
So with these with these planets now that we've seen like has signs of life in us, are we going to does that mean we're going to have to redefine the entire solar system?
Why?
Like, I know, it's just like, oh yes, we've got the evil planets, but we've also added some new planets to the system.
No, the presence of life isn't a defining factor for a planet. The defining factor of a planet is basically, is it round? And not a
Really?
star. Yeah. It's got to be big enough to be round, have cleared its orbit of all other objects, and not be a star. That's a very basic overview of what defines a planet.
Yeah, but that definitely always evolving though, doesn't it?
Yeah, but none of the definitions for a planet have ever involved life, except in that one XKCD comic from a few weeks ago. They had a comic defining the planets, and it's like, planets defined by having liquid water, having moons, having life. And it's a bit of a joke about all the different ways that you could define planets.
I'd say it's a judgmental. Only the prettiest ones are planets. Emperistic. Only worlds that I, author of this table, have personally as planets.
Yeah.
Existential. What if space itself is a planet? Spiteful. Only Pluto is a planet.
Yeah, so unless you're Randall Munro, none of the definitions of planet require life. And other scientists have pointed out that K2 18b might not even have an ocean on it because it's one possibility that the ocean absorbs the ammonia from the atmosphere and makes it look like there's water on the planet. Alternatively, it could be molten rock, which they say would preclude life because it's pretty bloody hard to be alive in molten rock.
Yeah.
There are some extremophiles that would give you a run for your money there that live around like heat vents and stuff, but not molten rock as far as we know.
Yeah, this interesting is I reckon with this discovery, this is going to prompt a reassessment of what constitutes habitable planet.
Well, yeah, the habitable planet would have life on it, but human habitable, this planet
Hmm.
might still not be habitable because it's bigger than Earth. We might not be able to handle the gravity. I mean, can you
Yeah.
imagine carrying 2.5 times your weight around?
Oh yeah. Very painful. Very
Yeah.
painful.
It might be an entire water world with nowhere to land. It might not have life on it at all. It might be completely uninhabitable because of some other chemicals.
Yeah.
So I know I shouldn't be getting excited about this, but I'm excited.
You
I
just
want
want
to
to
see
get.
the aliens.
You just want to go. You just want to escape Earth before it collapses, don't you?
Don't give away my secrets.
Yeah, this discovery has a lot of implications. I mean, like this discovery, I can imagine, as I said, Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and all the rich guys are gonna put more money in space related projects like telescopes, space probes,
Yeah, probably.
AI knowledge.
I just want to go to space one day.
Uh, the other
Fly
q-
me to the moon.
The other question I would have to ask though is like, so with this sort of planet being discovered, I wonder whether they're gonna reinvent the spacesuits and stuff if we ever have the chance to go there.
By the time we get there, then yes, there would be a huge, huge different type of spacesuit.
That's fair.
The amount of technological improvement would be huge. Not necessarily because we're just trying to, we need to make a different kind of spacesuit, but it's a planet with an atmosphere. We know that much. If the atmosphere is breathable, then so initially you don't need to worry about the pressure suit component. If the atmosphere is breathable, you don't need to worry about sealing it.
Anyways, we will be back with a short break and return with our shoutouts and a wacky movie. This week we are sponsored by Res. So far, I'm enjoying my Res-filled Coca-Cola. Nice. Still feels nice.
Fair enough. I'm enjoying my regular res because I'm too scared to mix it with anything but water.
Yes, Res with active ingredients such as bilberry, Korean ginseng, brahmi, marigold, and other vitamins and minerals that will give you maintenance of mental concentration and focus, relieving weariness and fatigue, decrease mental and cognitive fatigue, and reducing eye strain. This will give you a very good boost when it comes to day-to-day activities and gaming. And for anyone listening to this episode, you can get a 15% discount on the Res website. That is 15% by typing the code words NERDS15. That's nerds15. NERDS15. You get a 15% site wide discount to Res. Don't leave home without it. So, anyways, on to our shout outs. On the 13th of April 25, the passing of Jean Marsh. She was an English actress and writer who co-created and starred in the ITV series Upstairs Downstairs, for which she won the 1975 Emmy Awards for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama Series for a performance as Rose Buck. She reprised the role in BBC's revival of the series in 2010 and 2012. She's also known for 3 roles in Doctor Who, as Joan of England in The Crusade, Sarah Kingdom, a companion of the First Doctor, and a villain opposite the Seventh Doctor. She was briefly married to John Pertwee, who played the Third Doctor in the series from 1955 to 1960. You ever seen the earlier series of Doctor Who?
I have. That's how I got started.
Oh yeah.
Way back in the old days before there was even talk of a reboot.
Oh damn.
I mean, there was talk of it. They'd been talking about it basically since the show went off the air.
So you've seen the character as described here.
I believe so. It was a long time ago.
That's fair.
I've been
So
meaning to rewatch it, but it's hard to find the time. I mean, there's even if you just look at the original stuff, you
Mm.
could watch it non-stop for like 2 weeks and not be done.
oh damn. So yeah, she first appeared alongside William Hartnell in 1965 serial Crusade as Lady Joanna, the sister of Richard I, the Lionheart. She later returned a year as a companion Sarah Kingdom in 9 episodes of the 12-part serial The Dialect's Master Plan. Marsh reprised the role in the audio plays Home Truths, The Drowned World, The Guardian of the Solar System, The Five Companions, The Arachno, The Light at the End, An Ordinary Life, and The Sontarans. She also appeared in the 1989 television show Battlefield as Morgaine, as well as the 2007 audio play The Wishing Beast. She made an unbilled cameo appearance in the 2013 docudrama about Doctor Who, An Adventure in Space and Time. She died less than 2 weeks after Willow co-star Val Kilmer passed away. On the 19th of April 25, the 20th anniversary of Psychonauts, a 2005 platform game developed by Double Fine Productions and published by Majestico Entertainment for Microsoft Windows, Xbox, and PlayStation 2. Set in the retro-futuristic version of 1980s, Psychonauts follows Rasputin. Rasputin.
Yep. That's his name.
I'm thinking of Rasputin as that evil man in Russia, and how they have this guy. How they have this guy as a hero in this game. That's amazing.
Was Rasputin evil?
Oh, don't give me that! Don't give me that! You know he
I mean,
was
he was
evil.
basically a cult leader.
yeah. So yeah, he was so in this story, he runs away from a circus to try and sneak into summer camp for those with similar powers to become a psychonaut, a spy with psychic abilities. He finds that there is a sinister plot occurring at a camp that he can stop. The game is centered on exploring the strange and imaginative minds of various characters that Raz enters as a psychonaut in training, Psycadet, to help those overcome their fears or memories of their past, so as to regain their help and progress in the game. Raz gains use of several psychic abilities in the game that are used for both attacking foes and solving puzzles. You've played this game, haven't you, Professor?
I've watched a let's play of it. It gets weird
Wait, are you talking about like
in the best way.
are you talking like in an art house movie kind of weird or a Hollywood movie kind of
It gets a bit artsy, I guess.
So yeah, this game it took 4.5 years to create. Though that without all the complications, the real development time was close to 2 years, with a team of 42 full-time developers and additional contractors, and with a final budget of $11.5 million. That's insane when you
It
compare.
sounds like a lot, but
Yeah,
I'm not sure if that was a lot for the time period.
I mean that like when you look at the budgets games are made now compared to games made back then, it's night and day.
Yeah, there's a lot more people working on each game now.
Yeah. As for the setbacks, so apparently the Esmudok described the development of Psychonauts as difficult due to various setbacks, compounded by the new studio's lack of experience in how to manage those setbacks. The game's initial development began in 2001 during the dot-com boom. Due to the cost of office space at the time, Double Fine has established an office in an inexpensive warehouse in San Francisco that initially fit their development needs. By 2003, they had come to realize that the area they were in was not safe or readily accommodating, slowing down their development. With the collapse of the dot-com bubble, they were able to secure better office space, though this further delayed production. Schaefer was also handling many of the other duties for both studio and development of the game. Though some of the routine business tasks were offloaded to other studio heads, Schaefer brought Asmoduk onto the project in 2004 to help produce the game while he could focus on the creative side. Yeah, man, I'm reading as I'm reading through these stuff. Man, it makes it sound like game development back then it was a very very hard task compared to now. Now it's harder.
It's never been easy.
Especially when it comes to like dealing with so like one for example, subsequently levels were generated not to the expected standards due to conflict tool sets they use and Schaefer's inability to oversee the process while handling the other studio. In 2003, the decision was made to dismiss all but one of the level design team and unify the level design and art into a world building team overseen by Eric Robson, the remaining level designer, and who would go on to become the game's lead designer. The change, which Asmoduk stated was for the better, disrupted the other departments at Double Fine. Double Fine was also resistant to make changes that Microsoft had suggested from playtesting, such as making the humor secondary to the story, removing the summer camp theme, and drastically altering the story. Man, that's oh shit. That's rough, man.
Yeah, I don't think it would have been the same game with that.
Nope. Fries departed Microsoft in 2004. Shortly thereafter, the company soon pulled the publishing deal for Psychonauts. And like I said, it's harder now to get things done these
But it's
days.
easier to be an indie.
Oh yeah. On the 16th of April 2025, it's the 15th anniversary of Kick-Ass, the movie. You've seen this movie, right, Professor?
No, I haven't.
It was a movie. It was a 2010 superhero black film comedy film produced by Matthew Vaughn from a screenplay by Jane Goldman and Vaughn. It's based on the Marvel Comics comic book on the same name by Mark Miller and John Romita, and it was the first in the Kick-Ass franchise. It tells the story of an ordinary teenager who is set out to become a real-life superhero, calling himself Kick-Ass. Dave gets caught in a bigger fight when he meets Big Daddy, who's played by Nicolas Cage, a former cop who, in the quest to bring down a crime boss, Frank DiMarchio, acted by Mark Strong, with his son Red Mist, and has played by Christopher Mintz-Plasse, has trained his 11-year-old daughter Chloe Grace Moretz to be ruthless vigilante hit girl. After being rejected by every studio they approached, Matthew Vaughn raised the budget at a dinner party and made the movie independently. Vaughn ultimately sold the movie to Universal for more than he had originally asked them for. Oh, that is awesome. Imagine raising money at a dinner party.
Yeah, you'd have to have friends to do that.
Vaughn said, "We wrote the script and the comic at the same time, so it was very sort of collaborative, organic process. I met Miller at the premiere of Stardust. We got on very well. I knew who he was and what he had done, but I didn't know him. He pitched me the idea, and I said, 'That's great.' He then wrote a synopsis. I went, 'That's great. Let's go do it now.' You write the comic, I'll write the script." Jane Goldman, one of the screen directors, said that she works with Vaughn. She does the construction work and the interior designing, while Vaughn acts as the architect. Miller said that the screenwriters Goldman and Vaughn had made a chick flick, having placed more emphasis on the character's emotion and particularly in having softened the character of Katie. Oh man.
What? Can't chicks have superhero movies too?
We had, remember? Well, Ghostbusters. Remember Ghostbusters? How bad that was?
There are good chick flicks too.
Yeah. I will agree with you on that one, but yeah. I mean, Charlie's Angels kind of ruined it for. New Charlie's Angels kind of ruined it for.
Okay.
In the original comic book, Big Daddy is characterized not as an ex-cop, but a former accountant who had been motivated to fight crime by a desire to escape from his life and by his love of comic books. In the film, purported origins and motivations are genuine. Writer Mark Miller stated that the revelations about Big Daddy's background would not have worked in the film's adaptation and would have ruined the movie. And this movie also has a Stan Lee cameo, where Stan Lee plays as a man watching the news footage.
Stan Lee must have some of the highest number of acting credits out
Yeah, I agree with you there. Oh, Professor, what's a messed up moment for?
Yes, I totally didn't forget to. One moment.
I like how you like when I forget it, you knock me down for it, but
Because I've forgotten once.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, this sounds interesting.
Uh-oh. Here we go, kids.
In 2014, McDonald's decided they needed to offer more nutritious options for children and developed bubblegum flavored broccoli.
What? What?
Yes,
What?
bubblegum vegetables.
Oh, what the hell? No,
I want to
no,
see Nile Red recreate this now.
no, not now, Red. I want to see Heston Blumenthal make this.
Man, that's a blast from the past. What happened to Heston?
I,
Niall
I
Red's been doing all sorts of ridiculous food chemistry recently.
yeah.
He did a making an apple taste like grape.
I don't know what happened to Heston. Oh, okay. I'm looking. Apparently, he got diagnosed with bipolar disorder after experiencing a week-long manic episode. And wow, he got sectioned in France. Wow, that's not.
Okay, I thought, I wonder what happened to him. Maybe he just doesn't do TV anymore, but I didn't know that.
Yeah, holy shit. But yeah, but okay. Anyways, yeah, no, that wouldn't end well. That wouldn't work?
Yeah, it
Bubblegum,
didn't.
it wouldn't.
It just confused the children.
Whoever came up with that idea must have been tossed out of the boardroom immediately. But yeah, what was so messed up about this one besides the fact that besides the utterance of the name bubblegum flavored vegetables?
It's obvious.
I know, like I said, besides the utterance of the name.
No, it's obvious what's wrong with it.
Oh.
It's an affront against nature.
So I'm reading the article about this, and someone wrote, "Such a shame, really. Who could resist bubblegum broccoli? Or they could have gone further. Chocolate flavored pea, chocolate flavored peas."
Yeah. Science.
Okay, that being said, in this current age of genetic modification with food and whatnot, could you see it happen?
I mean, yeah, for a while, grape flavored apples were a real product.
But that's this, you know what else this reminds me of? This also reminds me of the Simpsons episode where Homer tries to be a farmer and he crossbred the seeds of the tomato with tobacco seeds. And he
But that's
makes
not too far fetched. They're both nightshades.
oh yeah. So basically, this McDonald's abomination, it's basically tobacco.
So would you eat it?
No, 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 I wouldn't eat it. I wouldn't even give it to. I wouldn't do it, even if you pay me $1 million. And what would you? And even if you were to, even if you were to sell this thing, like what would you call it? McBubble veggies?
I mean, I'd give it a go.
Would you? Oh man, I would say like no, Professor, no, don't do it. It's a trap. But say, what would you name it if you were to market this whole thing?
Good question. Don't know, but I'm not marketing savvy.
14. Oh wait, hang on. That was. I'm just thinking like 2014 and the obesity and we were talking about rising obesity rates. Imagine if this idea came out during the supersize me craze. Man, Morgan Spurlock would have would have not have liked it.
No, probably not.
Nope.
I mean, he makes a big deal about, like, well, he made a big deal about it, but he was his own alcoholic at the time of filming that.
Yeah, yeah. Although the fallout from that when the movie came out was amazing. How that McDonald's decided not to do precise options. A couple of McDonald's also did the whole no, we're not going to put any bread into we're not going to put bread on the burgers. It's going to be just lettuce leaves as the bun.
Yep.
So On that very nice note, let's go on to our wacky movie. On the 16th of April 1982, Time Bandits premiered in Denmark. This sent audiences on a wild trip through the ages. This was written in part and directed by Terry Gilliam. The fantasy feature starred Sean Connery, Shelley Duvall, and John Cleese. And here is the plot summary. A young boy accidentally joins a band of time-traveling dwarves as they jump from era to era, looking for treasure to steal. Reminds me of that Futurama episode.
Yes, with the scrungles.
Yeah, that plus Bender's
It was
Bender's.
Bender's big score, wasn't it?
Yeah. That one. Yeah. How he goes goes back in time and steals shit. Oh, that was funny. So yeah, in November 1979, Terry Gilliam developed the concept of Time Bandits after he started work on Brazil. Monty Python manager and producer Dennis O'Brien had difficulty understanding the concept of Brazil, so Gilliam decided on the idea of a family film. O'Brien had set up handmade films in London for the former Beatle George Harrison to Life of Brian, and the initiative was to produce more films with Python talent. While Gilliam's pitch was accepted, he co-wrote the script with fellow Python Michael Palin. Sean Connery was cast as Agamemnon after he met producer O'Brien on a golf course. A reference in the script introduced the character with the joke description, "Remove his helmet reveals himself to be none other than Sean Connery, or an actor of equal but cheaper stature." Connery was a Python fan and agreed to do the role for a nominal fee in return for a share of the gross profits. You've seen this movie, haven't you?
No, I've seen Brazil.
Oh yeah.
Brazil is wild. And I want to see Time Bandits, but haven't had a chance yet.
Fair enough. The part of Robin Hood was originally written for Palin, but John Cleese was eventually cast as his name was considered more bankable. Palin decided to appear with Shelley Duvall in small recurring roles of Vincent and Pansy. Cleese based his performance on the Duke of Kent by watching him having meaningless conversations with footballers at the FA Cup final during the team lineup before the match. Cleese remarked, "It always struck to me as the extraordinary ritual, the complete futility of that walking up and down thing." Yeah, I never understood that that whole ritual. Ralph Richardson casting as the pre-being was because he was regarded pretty much near God in the acting profession. Richardson took his role seriously, marking out lines in red ink and occasionally saying, "God wouldn't say that."
He seems very sure about what God would have done or not done.
I wonder how. Filming was partly on location in Raglan Castle, standing in front of Castiglione delle Stiviere, Epping Forest, Sherwood Forest, and I can't pronounce this. Damn it, Atir Benha. I can't do it. I can't.
Do it.
So, all right. Atir Benhadado at as Agamemnon's palace in Mycenae.
Close enough.
Yeah. Interior scenes were filmed in Lee International Film Studios. Gilm said he wanted to film from a kid's and therefore shot from a lower camera angle. He also said, fearing a child wouldn't sustain the film, let's suppose him of a similar height. According to Terry Gilliam, David Rappaport believed he got this part for his acting ability alone, without size being a contributing factor. As a result, he didn't socialize with his co-stars. During the invisible barrier scene, where the other bandits retaliate against Randall, the actors were expressing their frustrations with Rappaport. Oh, that's gonna suck.
Yep.
The whole notion of casting a movie with dwarves came from writer, producer, and director Terry Gilliam's memory of growing up in San Fernando Valley, where a circus used to roll into town each year, and local kids would find odd jobs with them. I never understood that the first time around until you told it to me. Further
Yeah.
explain it to
I
me.
had to explain that to you.
I was so confused with that.
You weren't using your brain.
Uh, Craig Warnock won the role after a wide search for the right child actor. An agent had seen Warnock's brother and sent him to an audition. That Craig went with him was merely a coincidence. Terry Gilliam, however, took more interest in Craig than his sibling, noting that the young man seemed rather intelligent, yet aloof and quiet, as opposed to the stereotypical cute little boy. In his book, Monty Python, The Case Against Irrelevance, Garrulity, Profanity, Vilification, and Licentious Abuse, Robert Hewison describes the dwarves as a commentary on the Monty Python trope. Fidget, the nice one, is said to represent Sir Michael Palin. Randall, the self-appointed leader, represents John Cleese. Strutter, the acerbic one, represents Eric Idle. OG.
Lots of big words this week, is there?
Yeah. OG, the quiet one, represents Graham Chapman. Wally, the noisy rebel, represents Cherry Jones. Vermin, the nasty, filth-loving one, represents Terry Gilliam. Oh man, can you imagine reading that as a Monty Python member? And you go, "Hey, wait a minute, is he insulting me or is he praising me?"
Yeah.
Executive producer George Harrison frustrated with writer, producer, and director Terry Gilliam's stubbornness, as evident by the lyrics of Harrison's song Dream Away. Harrison even once told Gilliam he reminded him on John Lennon because he was so difficult and bolshy. It was the thing that Gilliam was most proud of that Harrison ever said to him.
Well, wouldn't you want to be compared to John Lennon?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know whether John Lennon. I'm starstruck by that. I'm struck by that question now. Like on the one hand, I would love to be praised, but on the other hand, like John Lennon, isn't he the most hated guy in the group?
Is he?
I always thought it was either him or McCarthy were the most hated guys in the. Well, that's what I actually no. I always thought like from John Lennon. I heard from a John Lennon recording. John Lennon hated Paul McCarthy, and Paul McCarthy once said that he hated John. So I don't know.
Okay.
Although people still hate Yoko Ono for some God knows why. And I think we're going to see a lot of Beatle Bros coming out to attacking us after this.
Fair enough. Move along before you say anything else stupid.
Yep. Executive producer Dennis O'Brien was against the ending of Kevin's parents blowing up, and writer and producer Terry Gilliam had to fight to keep it in the movie. O'Brien was only convinced that the violent ending could stay after an advanced screening of the movie was held for an audience full of children. The first child, who was asked what his favorite moment of the movie was, excitedly proclaimed, "The parents being blown up."
Yeah, I think a lot of people would be into that.
Yeah. Anyways, that's all we have for this week. Where can they find us, Professor?
Literally everywhere, but join our Discord and have a chat with us.
Yeah. It'll be on our show notes. Also, thanks to our proud sponsors, Res, and using our special code word Nerds15, you can get 15% off discount.
Look after yourselves, stay hydrated, and we will see you next week.
And as I finish my Coke flavored Res, stay happy, stay nerdy. See you guys.
Yeah.